A 40-year-old Alaskan heiress named Colleen Atwood was desperate to get rid of her nanny's boyfriends because she suspected that they only wanted to date her for her money. She got so frustrated with her nanny's latest beau that she went to Interpol to file a complaint against him, but not before making up some very serious accusations against him. She told them that he had mistreated her, stolen from her, and even tried to kill her. But when Interpol started looking into it, they soon realized that something wasn't right. The more they dug into the case, the more it became clear that Colleen was the real criminal mastermind behind it all. And when they finally caught up to her, she was in for a rude awakening. It all started back in July of 2023 when Colleen Atwood called the police. She claimed that she had been held hostage by her own nanny's boyfriend and that he had even tried to poison her. According to Colleen, she had hired the nanny, identified only as Gabrielle, to take care of her for children. But recently things had not been going well between them. One day, Colleen came home and found Gabrielle's boyfriend, whose name was never revealed, at their home. Gabrielle had told Colleen that she was seeing someone, but she had never mentioned anything about him actually living with them. As a result, Colleen fired Gabrielle on the spot. But this is where things got interesting. A few days later, Colleen started feeling ill and she began suspecting that Gabrielle's ex-boyfriend had poisoned her food. She says that she had been experiencing symptoms like a rapid heartbeat, dizziness, and nausea. And after calling the police, they took her story seriously and launched an investigation. When they questioned Gabrielle, she denied the accusations and said that she had nothing to do with what happened to Colleen. She also claimed that she had broken up with her boyfriend months ago and that she had no idea where he was living or what he was doing. Despite this, Colleen insisted that Gabrielle was lying and that she had set her up to be poisoned. As the investigation continued, the police started to find inconsistencies in Colleen's story. They noticed that the symptoms she had described could have been caused by something else entirely, and that there was no evidence that she had actually been poisoned. Still, they didn't let Gabrielle off the hook just yet. They decided to keep her in custody while they investigated further. This meant that she couldn't take care of her own children, and they had to be placed in foster care. Meanwhile, Colleen was able to stay in her luxurious mansion without any worries about taking care of the kids. She didn't have to pay for a babysitter and everything was still under her control. It seemed like she was enjoying her newfound freedom a little too much. Things took another turn when Colleen realized that her bank account had been drained of $1 million. She immediately accused Gabrielle of stealing the money, but Gabrielle denied it. She claimed that she had never touched the account and that she didn't even know the password to access it. This raised suspicion on Colleen as people started to think that if she had been poisoned, how could she remember the password to her bank account? Additionally, why would Gabrielle need to steal the money if she was planning to leave anyway? All of this made people wonder if Colleen had made up the whole story to get rid of Gabrielle. Meanwhile, Interpol was looking into Gabrielle's claims that she had broken up with her boyfriend months ago. And what they found out was shocking. They discovered that the couple was still together and that they were living in a hotel room under false identities. Clearly, Gabrielle had been lying about the breakup and she must have been worried that Interpol would find out the truth. But why would she do that? Was she really innocent and trying to protect herself, or was she hiding something? When the police confronted her with the evidence, Gabrielle confessed to everything. She admitted that she had broken up with her boyfriend and that she had lied to Colleen about it. She also confessed to stealing the money from Colleen's bank account. But she insisted that she had nothing to do with the poisoning. She claimed that she had only stolen the money to help her boyfriend start a new life with her. She said that he had a gambling addiction and was in debt up to his eyeballs. So she helped him escape to Mexico and hide from his creditors. She thought that they could live a happy life there together, far away from Colleen and her problems. But unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Interpol had caught up with them, and they arrested Gabrielle's boyfriend for trying to cross the border with a false passport. And now she was in big trouble for stealing from Colleen. But what they didn't realize yet was that this was just the beginning. While they were investigating Gabriel's boyfriend, they found out that he had been involved in several other crimes, including credit card fraud and identity theft. He had used his charm and good looks to con many people out of their money, and then he would disappear before anyone could catch him. This raised red flags for the police as they started to wonder if he had done the same thing to Colleen. They went back to question her again, but this time she wasn't so talkative. She refused to answer their questions and she hired a lawyer. This made the police suspicious because if she was truly innocent, then why would she be hiding something? Was she protecting her nanny or was she covering up her own crime? The police couldn't be sure, but they were determined to find out the truth. With the help of a confidential informant, the police were able to track down Gabriel's ex-boyfriend. They found him in a hotel room with several fake IDs and credit cards in his name. They also found evidence that linked him to other crimes, including the theft of Colleen's money. At that point, it was clear to the police that he was the mastermind behind everything. He had tricked Colleen into thinking that he had poisoned her by putting salt in her food. Then he used her symptoms to convince her that he was a threat to her safety. This allowed him to move in with her and steal from her while she was incapacitated. And the most shocking part of it all was that he had set up Gabrielle to take the blame. He had convinced her that he was dangerous and had threatened her if she didn't cooperate. Gabrielle, being a single mother who was in a desperate situation, agreed to go along with the plan. But when she realized that she was being framed, she decided to confess everything to the police. She hoped that if she did, they would understand that she was just trying to protect her own child and wouldn't be so hard on her. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The police were furious when they learned that they had been duped. They had wasted valuable time and resources chasing down leads on a crime that never happened. And now the real criminal was on the loose with their money. They were determined to bring him to justice. Meanwhile, Colleen was living her best life. She was throwing lavish parties and buying expensive gifts for herself and her friends. She was completely unaware that the police were closing in on her. She had no idea that her world was about to come crashing down on her. Finally, the day came when the police were able to track down the mastermind behind it all. They confronted him with the evidence and he was arrested. The charges against him were serious, and he knew that he could go to jail for a very long time. He started to panic and begged the police for mercy. He promised to return all of the stolen money and even offered to give them information about his criminal associates. But the police weren't buying it. They had seen through his lies and weren't going to let him get away with it anymore. At first, he tried to deny everything, but when the evidence against him became overwhelming, he broke down and confessed. He told the police everything he had done and gave them information about his accomplices. This allowed the police to recover some of Colleen's money and shut down several other criminal operations. As for Colleen, she was left penniless and facing criminal charges of her own. She had been so greedy that she had forgotten about basic human decency and had framed an innocent person. She had put her own children in danger and had caused a lot of pain and suffering to everyone involved. She was finally facing the consequences of her actions and had to deal with the guilt and shame of what she had done. In the end, justice was served. The mastermind was locked up where he belonged, and the stolen money was returned to its rightful owner. Gabrielle was also cleared of all charges and was able to move on with her life. The experience had been traumatic for her and her children, but they were grateful that it was over. They learned that it was important to trust their instincts and not be afraid to speak up when something doesn't feel right. It was also a reminder that no one is above the law and that greed and selfishness can lead to devastating consequences.